Coming up on Valley News Live at 6, severe weather moving into the valley. We'll take you a look around the region on this first alert weather day.
Amid hundreds of complaints, why the attorney for Glosser Images says couples are one step closer to receiving their pictures.
Plus, what new rules come with the reopening of the Canadian border. Valley News Live at 6 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 6.
We're seeing severe weather moving through the metro area right now after tornado warnings to the southwest, snow across parts of North Dakota.
Along with our storm team here in the studio, we have storm chaser Eric Whitehill following the weather system. Let's begin with the very latest from Hutch. Hutch?
Stacy, Mike, thanks. Good evening, everyone. As we head through our Wednesday on this first alert weather day, our stormy weather continues. Now, the strength of the storms decreasing a bit, but the storms are in an environment that still has some spin, and we still could see some funnel clouds this evening, but earlier they were not funnel clouds. These were downright tornadoes, and pretty stout ones at that, making their way from the cloud to the ground. That's the definition of a tornado. You can even witness some debris being kicked up by that. John Davis sharing that. In fact, you, member of the First Alert Weather Squad, as we keep everyone ahead of the storms working their way northwards along the I-94 corridor, pushing along the I-29 corridor, and they extend off into west central Minnesota. If you're north of Highway 2, garden variety thunder showers for now, but will these be robust enough to cause severe weather for you? Here's the very latest. Notice we do have some reds, but most of them are off on the Minnesota side of the river, moving through Otter Tail County and Becker County right now. Good old-fashioned rain here. Again, that low-level environment still showing some rotation within the clouds. Valley City got a good half hour of rain making its way through. We do have some developing thunder showers in Griggs and Steele County. This extends back to just north of the FM area. It's on the backside here where we may see the possibility for funnel clouds. Here we go with some stronger cells working their way through the Cormorant Lakes area, over Otter Tail Lake and pushing toward the Highway 10 corridor there, not far from New York Mills. Here's the area of concern tonight. Again, the risk for tornadoes tonight is waning, and after sunset, it'll be all but gone. So if you're in the areas north of this green circle, the dark green circle, your risk is pretty low. I will have your hour-by-hour forecast here in a minute, and be aware, we'll keep you informed if there's any tornado warnings issued. Kind of review that plan that you and your family have to stay safe. That should include low level, interior room, away from windows, and until just a few minutes from now, we'll talk to you in just a few.
All right, thanks so much, Hutch, and make sure you receive all of our weather updates. Download the Valley News Live weather app. All you have to do is search VNL Weather in your app store.
458 complaints have now been filed with the North Dakota Attorney General regarding Glosser Images since it suddenly closed last week. Today, their attorney answered the question many have been asking. What happens to the couples whose weddings had already been photographed?
Like, what are your next steps? Do you know your next steps? Because we don't, and we just want to know your next steps, because that's what we're just being left out in the dust.
Glosser Images attorney Tim O'Keefe says his focus right now is getting images to the couples whose weddings already happened. O'Keefe says Glosser is working with subcontractors to get these memories to those couples, but subcontracted photographers like Amara Willer say that's not the case.
I have not heard anything, and I've talked with employees who have worked directly at Glosser, and they have not heard anything either.
So at this point, I'm cleaning up a mess that was never my responsibility.
And it's not just priceless photos sitting in limbo, it's wedding videos too. Subcontracted videographer Emerson Rice, based in Moorhead, says he's in the same boat.
His message said that subcontractors are being communicated with and are being will be used to complete the contracts of future weddings. I have called Tim O'Keefe's office 5 times and have been asked to leave a message each time.
The other question for the company, what happens to brides like Marissa Sahlberg, whose wedding hasn't happened, but who already paid in full for a photographer and videographer for her wedding next year?
We just gave him all this money and we're still put on the back burner, and he can't even acknowledge any of it.
I really don't have a comment on refunds, and I don't want to go down that hole right now.
O'Keefe admitting problems like Marissa's are not the focus right now. But a lawyer for the Attorney General's office says they're taking all 458 complaints very seriously as the investigation into Glosser Images continues. In Fargo, JC Dodd, Valley News Live.
And the Attorney General's office also says that they have issued subpoenas for Glosser Images and owner Jack Glosser.
Meanwhile, the Facebook group Hold Glosser Accountable now has more than 2,400 members. Emotions were high today for a former teacher on trial for sexting and enticing a young girl online to have sex with him. Prosecutors showed dozens of the explicit and disturbing conversations between 59-year-old Ronald Thompson and who he believed was a 14-year-old girl from Florida. The new audio released in court today revealed why Thompson says he does like chatting online with younger girls, but he was adamant he never crossed the line with any of his students or young athletes.
Absolutely not.
None of the students?
None.
Never tried to work anything out
Never.
for a grade or anything like that?
Never.
Okay.
Thompson is charged with one count of luring a minor, which carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. His trial is set to resume tomorrow morning, with the case likely handed to the jury by the end of the day.
Families in the Red River Valley and all across the country are seeing rising prices at the gas pump and in stores. Economists say that federal spending, supply chain challenges, and a demand for goods has accelerated inflation. National average hourly wages rose more than 4% in the last year. Gas prices increased 42% from a year ago. Vehicle prices are up almost 9%. And with the holidays on the way, that could mean even higher prices at your dinner table and under the tree. When should we expect things to go back to normal? Look for that answer tonight on Valley News Live at 9 and 10.
The Minnesota DNR today announced more than $13 million in funding proposals to deal with the effects of this summer's drought. They say the funds will be used for water conservation, wells, and tree replanting, adding the funding is needed to support tree health, carbon storage, and habitat and water quality. Many places in North Dakota now offer rapid testing for COVID-19. While the North Dakota Department of Health officials say rapid tests are a reliable option, they admit there are some drawbacks. It has a lower sensitivity rate than a PCR test, meaning the person being tested must have a high viral load to test positive. Still, officials say the chances of receiving a false positive are low.
All of our data showing that a positive Binax is probably almost always going to be a positive PCR. So it's that less than 1% that we're seeing here, and also what the FDA and the distributor is seeing, less than 1% is a false positive.
The health department is offering to administer regular rapid tests for businesses.
After 19 months, the United States will reopen its borders to Canada and Mexico to non-essential travel next month. Both Mexico and Canada have pressed the U.S. for months to ease restrictions on travel. Governors and lawmakers from both Minnesota and North Dakota have also advocated for reopening the border, saying it's separated families and hurt border cities. All travelers entering the U.S. must be vaccinated. Border officers may request proof of vaccination. In addition to international travelers being vaccinated, if you're crossing the border by air, that also requires proof of a negative COVID-19 test. As for U.S. travelers, Canada allows entry of fully vaccinated individuals with proof of vaccination as well as proof of a negative test. As for now, Mexico doesn't have any COVID-19 entry procedures.
Later on Valley News Live at 6, a look at how far parents are traveling to get specialized care for their kids.
And the Wahpeton area seeing a long rope-like funnel cloud may have made contact with the ground, as some reports have said. Here's a look at some video of that very same. These storms are now just pushing through the FM area and on their way northward. We'll have your hour-by-hour forecast of what you can expect. Thanks to all of you for sharing photos like this. Spencer capturing lightning in Fergus Falls. Your forecast is next.